Athena, known as Minerva to the Romans, was one of the most respected Greek goddesses. She represented wisdom and warcraft. Unlike Ares, she represented the finer, more civil parts of war, like strategy and honor. Athena symbolized intellect and civility, and thus it is fitting that Athens, the site of one of the world's first democracies, was named after her. Cupid, known to the Greeks as Eros, was the god of love. He was depicted as a winged baby, carrying a bow whose magic arrows would inspire love and obsession in those it struck. Cupid was known to be mischievous, but is overall seen in a positive light. Dionysus, also known as Bacchus, was the Greek god of nature, ecstasy, and fertility. He was a patron of the arts and literature, but most prominently, he was the god of wine, and his cultish following did much drinking. His characteristics evoke the emotional highs of drinking, but also those of overindulgence and waste, reflecting his association with ecstasy and wine.
In addition to all other powers yielded by gods and goddesses, Artemis possesses the power to heal others, as well as the power to change others, including herself, into animals if they anger her or to her own pleasure.
Aphrodite, known to the Romans as Venus, was the Greek goddess of sexual love, beauty, and fertility. She herself was depicted as an enchanting figure of unattainable beauty. She had the gift of eternal youth and the ability to make humans fall in love. Ares, known to the Romans as Mars, was a god of war. He symbolized the brutal and violent aspects of war in contrast to his half-sister, Athena, who represented the strategic and tactical aspects of war. He was known to be hated by both gods and men. He has supernatural strength and fighting skills and would bring violence and destruction wherever he went. Demeter, known as Ceres in Roman religion, is one of the oldest Greek goddesses. She was the goddess of agriculture and known as the giver of food and grain. She had power over the growth of plants, the seasons, and the weather. The myth of Demeter's daughter, Persephone, sees her being banished to the underworld for a third of every year due to the forced marriage between her and the god of the underworld, Hades. Demeter's grief from the loss of her daughter causes her to bring upon winter. As you can see, ancient Greeks would pray for help in their harvest from Demeter. Achilles was the strongest Greek warrior and a hero in the Trojan War. As an infant, his mother dipped him in the river Styx, holding him by his heels, causing him to be physically invulnerable except for at his heel. He died being shot in his heel, his one weak spot. His represented courage and power, but most importantly was a symbol of the weakness that every man has. Atlas was a huge and extremely strong titan, infamous for leading a rebellion against Zeus. The Titanomachy was the great war between the Titans and the Olympian gods. Atlas came to be the leader of this war, fighting to overthrow Zeus. He failed, and his punishment was to hold up the sky for all of eternity. Apollo was one of the most revered and influential gods. He was loved by the Greeks and represented many things. He was the god of music and a patron of the arts. As an immortal, he was extremely gifted and powerful with a bow and arrow. He was a handsome god associated with the healing and purification of humans, among other positive powers. A deity of manifold function and meaning, he was the god that made mortals aware of their own guilt and purified them.